Okay, audio ready to go. Looks like it. Let's get this set up. Now let's get this running on the running. Don't have too much time today. Because got a game to play this evening. I'm really looking forward to it. Part of me was on the fence about just starting the game from now and then maybe putting this off one more day, but nah, I should do this if I actually want to. Before I forget. If I really want to get a better PB in this, I need to keep playing. So, responsibilities. Odd responsibility, but responsibility nonetheless. Alright, so, let's go ahead and get that up. I'm gonna run this like I've been running it. Well, hopefully not exactly like I've been running it. The way I've been running it lately is, have a mediocre run, get good RNG, choke it away. Either that or have a good run, get bad RNG, and runs over. It's been a string of that. Or at least it was last week. But I can't really complain too much about the RNG. Like, I did have one day where the RNG just absolutely gave me nothing. But most of the other days, like, there was at least one run in there where the RNG gave me something to work with. And I subsequently forgot how to play the game. How was Crab? I finished it. I probably have a different opinion of that game than you do. And I talked about it at the end of yesterday's stream, but I'll kind of go through it as I'm playing. I need to go ahead and get started, otherwise I'm not going to be able to finish any runs today. Like, out of 10, my score for the game is either a 5 or a 6. And I'll explain why. So, a lot of people, when it comes to indie games, they tend to be a little bit more forgiving of certain things because it's an indie game. So the idea being that, well, it's a smaller team, less experience, so you shouldn't be your expectations shouldn't be as high as they are with like a normal developer. And I think the part about expectations is correct. You should absolutely temper your expectations in terms of what you're going to be getting. But I don't think that that means that you change the way that you view the final product. And my experience with that game was a lot of bugs. Some of them very annoying. Some of them that made the game difficult to play. Among them, the map doesn't display properly. It doesn't always show your icon exactly where you are on the map. It's displaced. The icons for the moon shells and things like that, you can open the map, they'll be in the wrong place, close the map, immediately open again, and they'll be in a different wrong place. And what's really weird about it is, like, you'll watch them and it's almost like they're kind of circling the place that they're supposed to be, and they slowly get there, and then finally they're on the right place, and then they tend to stay there. And that's an extremely odd bug, and it's one that the game has been out for over a year, and I have no idea why they haven't bothered to fix. The final fight, the dialogue bugged out and stopped working. On top of that, I had the game crash on me once, and it's probably related to the same thing that caused the audio to bug out, which is that the game has memory leak problems. Which is to say that, just to explain memory leaks very quickly for anybody who might listen and not know what memory leaks are. Memory leaks in programming are, so you have RAM on your computer, and in order for a program to work, it needs to take stuff from permanent storage and put it into RAM so that the computer to use it to display whatever it needs to display or make any calculations it needs to make and things like that. But the thing is, like, RAM isn't big enough to hold an entire program. at one time, especially if you're running multiple programs at the same time. So things have to be moved in and out. And sometimes a program only needs something temporarily. And so what you have to do is you put it in RAM, and then when you're done with it, you're supposed to remove it. However, if you don't do this, what happens is your RAM slowly fills up. It gets used more and more and more. And then eventually, like, because you haven't cleaned up the quote unquote garbage that you need to get rid of, the RAM either runs out and it starts running slowly, or you run into errors because things that need to get into RAM don't get into RAM, or like basically what goes on with memory leaks is something along with this, where in order to clear out memory, you have to know where the memory is so that you don't accidentally clear out important things that you still need or that belong to other programs. Now, what happens with memory leaks is like you kind of lose track of the memory. So you don't know where the memory was anymore to be able to clean it up. And as that builds up over time, you end up with all this kind of junk memory that's not really doing anything, but it's taking up space in RAM. And then maybe you run out of RAM to run your program, and then the program crashes. Or maybe that junk memory gets referenced in a place where it's not supposed to be referenced because you didn't clean it up properly, and then the program reads something incorrectly, and then the program crashes. Like, it can lead to various different problems. I mean, this is just kind of a really surface level explanation of it. Somebody who's been doing stuff like this more recently could probably give you a lot more detailed explanation, but this is just kind of like one explanation of it. But essentially what will happen is the longer that you leave a program running, the worse the performance will get. And that's kind of what happened with this game, is because my session yesterday and the day before were really long, you started having more and more problems. And on Saturday, the game just completely crashed. And yesterday, it didn't completely crash, but the audio cut out on the final fight and then wouldn't come back, even with repeating it. And then after that, like, you started experiencing slowdown and things like that. So when it comes to things like this, on release, the recent expectation of a lot of people is, well, stuff is going to be buggy. And I wish people would get rid of this expectation, because that expectation in and of itself has led to these bugs becoming prevalent. Because now people think they can get away with it. And I don't personally put up with that kind of stuff. Like, if you release something, it should work. It should work as intended, and if it doesn't work as intended, you need to fix it. This game has been out for over a year, and there are glaring problems with it that they have not addressed. And this is despite the fact they've released downloadable content for the game. I don't personally think this is something they should get a pass for, regardless of whether you're an indie developer or not. You're responsible for the product you put out. Just because you're an indie developer doesn't change the fact that, one, you're a professional, and two, you are selling something to somebody. So when I have this many bugs in a 20-hour experience, that does not reflect well on the product. Number two, with regard to indie developers, and this is a thing that I also wish people would stop doing, don't give these people points just because they're indie. You don't deserve points for that. Nobody deserves points for that. Just for the same reason, a bigger publisher doesn't deserve to have their game rated lower just because they're a big publisher. Neither one of those things makes sense. You grade these things on the merit. Now, price does come into this to an extent, in that when you purchase something, it's a value investment. So if you pay $10 for something and you get what you consider to be $30 of value out of it, that can be a good purchase, regardless of if the quality of the product compared to something similar is lesser. In the same way, if you pay $100 for something, but you get $1,000 of value of it, even though that cost more than the other product, the amount of value you got out of it can, in the same way, make that a valuable purchase to a person. So the price alone isn't the factor that you got to look at. You got to look at it in terms of, like, what you're getting for your cost and whether or not it's worth it or not. Now, in terms of what I paid for the game, I more or less think I got what I paid for. So I'm not making a, what would I say? I'm not making any real statements about the game's value or anything like that with my rating. I just think that I think it was fairly priced, and that's about it. That's about how I feel about it. So I think that if this game had been released by Square Enix, the score would be what I gave it, which is about a 6 or a 5. And I think that's for the same reason that I'm giving, which is that it's got a lot of bugs. There are very much redeeming aspects of the game. I think the boss fights are extremely well done. Well, extremely is a little bit overstating. I think the boss fights are well done. I think the boss fights in and of themselves make the game worth playing. The graphical fidelity, while not terribly impressive, is quote-unquote good enough. Like it doesn't really affect my opinion of the game positively or negatively. It gets what it needs to get done. The style of the game, I think, is perfectly acceptable. Like, there's going to be opinions on people who like and don't like things like that. Like, I'm not like a big fan of like the art style of the game, but it's not something I would take away points for. Like, I just think it is what they wanted. It accomplishes the job. I have no real opinion on it beyond that. Graphical fidelity wise, again, like, it's not really pushing any barriers. It gets done what it needs to get done. Gameplay wise, this is where I've got a few issues, and my issues are mainly with everything outside of the boss fights. In that, number one, the game is designed to be like a Souls-style game. And Souls-style games, like, if you ask people, like, what's probably the number one defining characteristic of like a Souls-style game, is they will probably say something along the lines of challenge. And while that is not untrue, it's a little bit too reductive to just wrap it up just like that. Now, again, like, if you're just actually doing one word, that's obviously not something that you can do otherwise. Like, you have to do it in one word. So, I mean, like, that's probably the words you're going to go with. You might go with something else, but that's probably the words you're going to go with. That's all well and good in just like a simple description. But when you set about to actually make a game like that, one of the things that the Souls games do very well that a lot of people don't talk about, but they deserve maybe not credit for, but deserves to be pointed out, they do this a lot better than a lot of other people do, is designing the areas so that, one, they're challenging, but they're not, what's the best word to use here? They're not like overly taxing. And they messed this up with Dark Souls 2. When they released Dark Souls 2, like, one of the big complaints about Dark Souls 2 was this, like, in lieu of trying to come up with clever ways to make the game difficult, they just went with the simple formula of lots of enemies at one time and long-range attacks. And a lot of people got really tired of that. And with good reason, because while the boss fights in the Dark Souls 2 game weren't that great, you could understand what the goal was. It's generally one-on-one. I mean, so they did a lot of 2-on-1 and 3-on-1 stuff too, which also people didn't really like because, well, when you do things like that, like, it's kind of hard to tune a battle when you have multiple enemies to have it so that things kind of work quote-unquote fairly. Like, what you don't want is for, just because there's multiple enemies, to get in a situation where there is literally nothing the player can do to protect themselves. That's bad design for the most part. Like, if you're going to design a fight with multiple enemies, you should have a way for the player to be able to deal with the situation. It's important to remember in a game, like, if you want to kill the player, you can kill the player anytime you want. It's not impressive to kill the player. It's the least impressive thing you can do. because you can literally make it where the player is never ever able to win. So what the goal is to do is to create a challenge for the player that they can overcome. Games are designed to be beaten. You have to be able to beat whatever the challenge is. Dark Souls 2 got in a lot of trouble because it was clearly obvious from the way that they had designed the game that not much thought had been done into the overworld map, into how they placed their enemies, the way those enemies interacted with each other, and what the player could do to deal with them when there were multiple enemies on the screen at once, or even off the screen. And they deserved all the criticism they got for it, because a lot of the dying in that game was from things that most people would call cheat. In other words, you're in the middle of an action and you get shot by something off screen that you could have never seen or known that was coming. Or 5 enemies aggro on you and they chase you halfway across the map, and to run away from them, because 5 enemies are very difficult to fight at one time, if not impossible in some cases, you have to run away. But the problem with running away is while you're running away, you aggro more enemies. These are things that game is perfectly criticizable for. And it's done in spades, and it's part of the reason that is widely considered the worst game in the franchise. The reason I bring this up is because I know that the Crab's Treasure does a lot of the same things. And about halfway through the playthrough, I just came to the realization that I was playing Dark Souls 2 again. And in Dark Souls 2, what most players eventually come to the conclusion to is that it's not worth dealing with any of the mobs. Just run from point A to point B and hope you don't die. This will get the job done as a game. It allows you to complete the game, but if that's the result that the player comes to, you probably didn't design your worlds very well. You should probably rethink about how your enemies interact with each other, rather than just a single enemy and what it does on its own. And like one of the big problems I had with how the enemies act in that game is especially the long range ones, because most games, when they have characters attached to you from long range, they will give you some way to deal with it that is reasonable, especially when they're attacking you from somewhere that you can't actually fire back at them. Another Crab's Treasure doesn't really do this. And there are multiple areas in the game where you're getting shot by something. 1, you can't see it coming. 2, they don't miss. And this is a problem because you can be running and still get hit, or you can be stopped and still get hit. Sometimes I had a situation where I got hit because I was behind a corner. I had no idea I was being aimed at, and as soon as I came out from behind the corner, the arrow hit me. This is not a good way to design a game. As I was saying before, it's important to remember you're designing a game. The goal is not to kill the player, the goal is to challenge the player. If they wanted to kill me, they can kill me anytime. And the way that a lot of these things were designed, they felt like they weren't said they were challenging me, they were just to kill me. Those are mostly my biggest issues with the game as itself. The positives, as I said before, the boss fights are done well. If the game had only been the boss fights and just a little bit of stuff in between, I wouldn't have actually had a problem with it. My rating would probably have been closer to a 7 or so. But once you kind of put all those things in together, like there's things I'm willing to put up with, and there's things like not so willing to put up with, and the game kind of went a little bit too far into the latter for me. And see, it's like this is it's kind of difficult with this because like I can absolutely see why somebody would play that game and enjoy it. I can see why somebody play that game and think it's a really good game and they really liked it and they had fun with it, and they wouldn't feel the same way about it as I did, because part of how you're going to experience that game is how you do your build and the way you play the game. And that can entirely change how somebody feels about the game. And like, this is true of most Souls games as well. It's like, if you choose a garbage build playing a Souls game for the first time and you don't know anything about them, you're probably not going to have a good time. You are probably not going to have a good time. And it may be that maybe just because of the way I did my build, like, I had a worse time with it than some other people will. But at the end of the day, like, that's also your job as a game developer. If you're going to make the game in a way that you have the ability to make a lot of builds, one of the things you also have to do is you have to make it so that those builds can somehow be viable. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to put in a situation where somebody has made like a completely valid build, but you've got sections of the game where if you haven't designed your build to be in a certain way that is maybe not impossible, but is extremely frustrating. Which is why, like, a lot of times what you'll see people complain about some games is like, well, you gave me the ability to make this build, but then you gave me this one section where if I don't have this item, then it's really, 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 really difficult. And that item is not something that you might pick up on a natural play for. It's something that you have to go out of your way to get. And Elden Ring did this with the Moog fight, where the Moog fight, like, once you get him down to, I think it's like half health or like 2/3 health or something, he doesn't move. It's called like nihil or something. And it's unblockable and it's undodgeable. And he steals your health and heals back up. However, there's an item in the game that you can get that will significantly reduce the amount of damage you take, but it doesn't stop how much he heals himself out of it. He just heals up. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop that, other than if there are ways to kill him before he does it, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do, but like, the average player is not going to do that. So basically, he's going to heal up. So that's just part of the game mechanic. You can't say anything about that. But the fact that you either got this item and the fight is much easier, or you don't have this item and it's ridiculously more difficult, and there's no way to know that this item exists in the first place. A lot of people complained about that, and it's a legitimate complaint. So, like, if there were things in the game that I could have had that would have made the game easier, but I didn't have them, okay, that's fair enough. But if you design the ways in such a way that they're dependent on the player having those things, which you didn't design them in a way so as the player would get them, well, I think that's worthy of criticism. And because I haven't picked up everything in the game yet, like, I can't make a full comment as to whether or not that was the case or not, but that's kind of how it felt sometimes. It's like, I'm supposed to have something here and I don't think I have it. And I have no idea where it is, and I have no idea if it even exists, honestly. So that kind of frustrated me a little bit with the game too. And that kind of leads into like another thing with the game. Like, I'm not going to call this necessarily like a big negative, but it wasn't a positive. And like, the NPC interactions in the game are almost wholly unnecessary. Like, for the most part, they don't really advance any of the game. It's, I mean, if you like the narrative and you're interested in the narrative and you want to talk to them, you're welcome to do it. If you don't, like, you don't have to, which, that's a valid decision. Like, you can make your NPCs basically meaningless. I mean, that's the thing you can do. I don't know if I would consider that a wise thing to do, but I mean, it's a choice. So you can just say, well, you know, like, the player has the choice of whether or not they want to interact with them or not. Okay, that's fine. But they're there, and I interacted with them, and I kind of felt like every time I talked to someone, like, I wasted my time. Because nobody really told me anything that kind of advanced the plot. And nobody really gave me any information that would help me find things, unless it was somebody that was clearly marked. but the new Carcinia area or whatever, I mean, it's huge, and you got these NPCs all over the place, and I spent like an hour or so going through there because the place is kind of difficult to navigate and trying to find all these people to talk to, thinking something would happen. Nothing happened. And everybody I talked to had all this stuff to say, but nothing to say at all. And again, that's something that for some people is not an issue. Like when you add in all of the other stuff going on with the game in terms of like the bug problems with it, the way that the fighting on the overworld is balanced and things like that, when it looks like a lot of time has been spent on something like that that is not core to the game itself, but does take a lot of time and resources to make and maintain, like I question whether you've spent your time in the right place or not. And when I was in college studying computer science, and I took a video game design course because I had one and I was interested in it. Like I remember, like we had to, like basically what you did was over the course of the course, you designed a video game over about 3 months or so, 3 or 4 months or so, however long a semester was. And when the guy that ran the course was talking to us early on, when we were, trying to decide what it is that we were going to do, like one of the big pieces of advice he gave was, make sure that your scope doesn't get beyond what it is you're capable of handling. And like, it's really easy when you want to do something, especially with like a video game, to say like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want it to do this, I want it to be like this. But everything that you want it to do, like you have to put the time and effort into doing it. And like time is a finite resource, money is a finite resource. And so everything that you choose to do is another thing that you're choosing not to do. And so what the guy told us is, since we only had 3 months, limit the scope of what it is you're doing. Don't let feature creep or project creep get you, because what's going to end up happening is if you limit your scope, you can make one thing really good and really interesting. But if you let the scope get too big, what you're probably going to have is a bunch of things that are there, but they're not well polished and they're not very good. And this is a thing that indie developers especially can run into, because indie developers are especially restrained by manpower, time, and fiscal resources. So when you're an indie developer, it's very important that what you do, you make sure that you're going to do it and you're going to do it well, and you don't spread yourself too thin, because otherwise you end up in a situation where you had this big vision, but at the end of the day, like what you've got is just like a bunch of mediocre parts put together. Now, if you're lucky, sometimes those mediocre parts come together and make something much better than what they are individually. And while I'm not calling it mediocre, the parts of it mediocre, like Clear Obscure is actually a pretty good example of this. A lot of Clear Obscure, like Expedition 33, the parts taken individually are really not that impressive. Like, it's been done before, simply put. Like, I think the music exception to that. I think the music for that game and the art direction for that game is exceptional. Like, you haven't seen something on that level very recently. Like, I don't think it's anywhere remotely fair to say that those things aren't special. I think those are extremely well done and they deserve all the praise they get. But I think if you look, like, for example, the graphics in the game on a technical level, the facial animations, things like that, they're really not that great. That's not saying they're bad. That's not even saying that they're not good. But they're not like 10 to 10 or anything like that. The story itself, if you want to really like dig into the story, there's all kind of plot holes you can find with it. The same thing with the characters. Like, if you really want to dig down and like seriously analyze the characters, you can probably find a lot of things that don't really make sense. But everything put together came out as like greater than the sum of its parts. And that can happen. When it does happen, like, that tends to be something that is much more successful than everybody expected. However, sometimes that doesn't happen. And sometimes what you're left with is the mediocre parts that you made dragging down other things that may have been not mediocre, that may have been good or even excellent. And for me, like, that was kind of my experience with this game. I thought the boss fights were fair. I thought they were interesting. I thought they were pretty well paced. I didn't think they drug out or were, you know, like the bosses had like way too much health. I mean, you could make the argument that maybe they did a little bit too much damage, but at the same time, like, that may have just been because, like, I didn't pick up enough of the health things, or like a few other factors that may have come into just like how prepared I was for the fights when I got in there. And like how you, like, honestly, like the way that somebody plays too was greatly going to affect like how difficult those boss fights were as well. Like, I mostly just blocked. I didn't even, like, the last 2/3 of the game, I basically threw away dodging, almost. I just mostly just blocked, and if I parried, it was mostly on accident. Like, the final fight, like, I did aim for parries a little bit just because it didn't feel like you could win that fight just by blocking. And, like, you had to dodge a little bit in that fight, too. And, like, the truth is, like, on most of the fights, I dodged, like, the moves that I knew I could dodge with no problem, I dodged. And, like, obviously, you have to dodge the grabs, too. You can't block those. But, I mean, for the most part, I was just kind of blocking stuff, so. And, I don't know, like, because of the shell mechanic, it kind of felt like that was how the game wanted you to play it anyway. So, I did that, and I found that, like, playing it that way, I mean, it's not like I was doing these things, like, no deaths or anything like that, but the fights were extremely manageable. Like, there was really nothing about them that I thought was, whoa, you guys have gone too far. So, like, I really thought the boss fights were pretty good. So, like, if you're the kind of person that when you play games like that, you don't really interact with the mobs very much, you don't really do too much exploring, you just kind of move from point A to point B and you just keep going, like, I could see that game actually probably being a lot of fun. But if you're somebody like me that I tend to, because the devs bothered to make it, I try to interact with it. I like to see, like, what it is, like, what the thought process might have been behind it, like, what kinds of things they tried to design, because, I mean, they took time to make it, so, like, I spent the money to buy it, I kind of want to see what's there. And I think, unfortunately, with this game, that was to my detriment. I think I would have been a lot better off if, from the start, I had just set it out where it's like, I'm not going to deal with any of the, like, you know, searching around stuff. I'm just going to go boss to boss, run through. You know, I'll level up off of the souls that the bosses give me and just play the game that way. I think if I'd done that, I'd probably enjoyed the game a lot more. But at the end of the day, they put the stuff in there, so it's not my fault for interacting with it. And so, if you're going to put it in there, you should make sure that it's of a quality that you are satisfied with. And this gets back to what I talked about earlier with, like, the bugs and things. The fact that there are bugs in that game that have been there for over a year that they haven't dealt with, that are things that probably shouldn't take that long to fix, and they are still unfixed, tells me that they are satisfied with this level of game. And I don't find that acceptable. Which is part of the reason I give it a little bit what might be considered a harsh rating. Like, personally, I don't think a 5 or 6 is a harsh rating. I think that's like, what that rating means to me is like, okay, this is a game. It's not unplayable. It's not so bad that I don't want to finish it. But it's got a lot of problems. Some parts of it are good, some parts of it aren't. And that's kind of how I feel about the game. Like, it's a game. Oh my lord. Oh, this is a mess. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's a game. Like, it's, for the amount of money I paid for it, I definitely got I got that back. I got back the $10 I paid for it. So, like, I don't have any qualms on that. Like, I don't feel like I was ripped off or anything. I'm just disappointed because I think that they could have put out something that was better play tested, better refined, and had a better product. But they chose not to do that. So like I can't look past that. Like if I'd played this at launch, I would have a little bit different opinion, because playing it at launch, I could have said to myself, okay, well, they've got time to kind of iron some of these things out. I'm playing it right now. You know, like even if you have playtesting, like sometimes you don't pick up everything, but they've had over a year. I know they have to be aware of some of this stuff, and they've just left it alone. And that's just not an acceptable outcome. That's just kind of, that's how I felt about the game. I'm going to finish up everything with it. Like I'm going to get a platinum trophy for it, because I have a mental disease that makes me want to do things like that. But like I'm going to be doing that just in time I have. Like I'm not going to do that on stream, just because like most of it's kind of grindy, and then like I don't think it's not fair to people who might watch. It's not fair to, well, I'm not gonna say, actually, I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it or not, but like, I don't think it's anybody's benefit for me to stream that, so I'm not going to stream that. So I'm just going to get that done off stream. But that was my opinion of the game. Like, I think that the boss fights were good, but I think that most of the other areas of the game could have used a lot more polish. And I think it's a shame that they just kind of released it and then didn't make a little bit more effort into fixing some of the problems with the game, especially the technical problems. All right, 3, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, it's like when it comes to New Game Plus with like Souls games and things like that, I don't really feel too much motivation to play those modes unless boss behavior changes. Like if all it is just like larger health pools and more damage, I don't really find that very interesting, because you're not challenging me at that point. You're just kind of turning it into an endurance test. And that kind of gets back to like one of my big beefs with the game industry right now, is that too many of these games don't respect the time of the people that play them. Like they intentionally waste your time to make it feel like their game is longer. And what really bugs me about this is I can understand why free-to-play games do that, because of how their monetization methods work. Like they have to do that. But when single-player games that don't rely on monetization start doing this kind of stuff, like I've got a real problem with that. It's just disrespectful. And like that's not a sole problem with the video game industry at this point. Like that's just a Western corporate culture problem at this point, where somewhere along the lines the customer stopped being a person and they just became a number on a spreadsheet, and everybody acts like the entire goal of a business is to squeeze as much money out of a customer as possible. And I hate that. I think it's disgusting. I think that, especially if you're a person who considers yourself to be of the Christian faith and this is how you operate your business, you need to reread your Bible and think real hard about why they talk about rich men not being able to get into heaven before they could pass through the eye of a needle. That is my personal opinion on that. So, like, the older you get, like, especially when it comes to things like time, like you really start viewing how your time gets spent in a lot different way than when you're younger. And this isn't a knock on young people, it's just a fact of life. Like, young people have more time, so time is a less valuable resource. The older you get, the less time you have, which means that time becomes more valuable. It's not really an intelligence thing, it's just a simple supply and demand thing. So I can understand why younger people will tolerate certain aspects of gaming that I don't tolerate anymore. And that's perfectly fine. Like, one of the other things that some people don't seem to understand about games and other products in general is not everything is for everyone. Sometimes a thing just isn't for you. You are perfectly welcome to express why you don't like it. You're perfectly welcome to say whatever you want about it, but you are not obligated to buy it, and you are perfectly welcome to ignore it as well. So, and on top of that, the people that do buy it, if they feel like they got their money's worth and they enjoyed it, there's nothing wrong with that either. There's an argument to be made there that because game development, the ability to develop games in itself is a finite resource, and so if time is being spent developing one style of game in lieu of another, like the people that like that kind of style of game that isn't getting developed are suffering because, you know, they feel like their opinions aren't being listened to, and that's a valid argument. But that's kind of a little bit outside of the scope of what's going on with another Crab's Treasure. So that's got a little bit of a tangent there. So I'm not really going to go any further on that. But I just don't like it when games waste my time anymore. And like I said before, my personal sickness with having to platinum trophy every game I play is really making that stand out lately. Like, one of my biggest offenders of this in recent memory is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I absolutely loathe how that game goes out of its way to waste your time. They call it expansive, I call it bloated. Because so much of what you do in that game serves no purpose other than to give you something to do. They talk about it being extra content. I talk about it being a waste of resources for the reasons I stated earlier. All that time and money that was spent on putting that stuff in there, if they had directed that into making the narrative better, making the regular fights better, things like that, the game would be in a much improved state. But instead, it's a jack of all trades, master of none situation with that game. Yeah, I know. That's why I said, like, I didn't have as much a problem grinding stuff in the past because, one, I was younger, and two, games didn't really go out of your way to waste your time back then. Like, I've got a problem with it now because I'm older, and mobile game development, like, what's kind of happened, I think, and this is one of those things where you're probably not going to think about it beforehand, but once you've seen the result, you can kind of see, oh, that's why it happened. I think what's happened is a lot of companies got heavy into mobile games in the 2010s. And because the older staff had never done things like that, I think they had the younger staff work on those kinds of games. And those kinds of games require a certain style of development if you're going to make especially free-to-play games, which is what most everybody made back then. Now, because time has passed, most of those people that were junior devs back then are probably senior devs now. But because they were raised, quote unquote, raised on that kind of development style, I think that that's bled over into them putting this into the more mature franchises like, for example, Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, where they're doing things to expand the time that a game takes to play, but while those were good things to do in mobile games, because mobile games need that, the single-player experiences suffer for it. And you're seeing it all over the industry now because all the people that are the main probably developers in the industry, not all of them, but the majority of them are probably people that started out as mobile game developers. Because the game industry skews young because, well, quite frankly, playing games, well, I'm not going to, it's starting to get to where isn't the program, is soon going to become the appropriate verb there, but it's still a young person's hobby, it's still a young person's job. So, like, you don't see a lot of 50-year-old devs in video games. They exist, but for the most part, like, those people tend to kind of move on when they're probably late 30s or mid 40s, would be my guess. Either because they've kind of fallen out of love with it, or because the culture's moved on and they don't really understand how to make games for the younger audience, or any number of reasons. Like, in a lot of cases, it may just be because, well, quite frankly, game dev doesn't pay that well, and they can take their programming skills somewhere else and make more money. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of getting back to what you were saying earlier. It's like I complain about it, but then I still do it. It's like I said, I consider it a personal problem, a personal failure, that I just can't let these games be left alone. Like, I didn't have this problem when I was younger. And what, quote unquote, ruined me was trophies. I had very high grades when I was in school. Like, for me, it was always a goal to get 100 points on whatever it was I did. Like, if I didn't get 100 points on something, I considered that I had failed for the most part. Like, that attitude probably has bled into this to some extent. And because trophies provide a clear and understandable number as to what you have done with the game. And part of the reason I know that grades is probably, like, the way I was schooled, it probably has something to do with this. Like, I feel very different about a game if I have like a 90 on it versus I have an 80 on it. So it's not just the completion point, it's the percentage points as well. And the reason I know that that's probably schooling is because 90 was the line for getting an A versus getting a B. So, I mean, it's like, it would be in my best interest to just, when I don't enjoy something, I don't want to do it anymore, just put it down and move on. But, like, I just got that kind of psychological thing where it just won't let me do it. That in and of itself is not the game dev's fault, but also, like I said before, if you put something in the game, you took the time and money and the effort to put it in there, and I play it and I don't enjoy it and I let you know about it, that's not my fault. You have to take responsibility for the product you sell. Like, part of the reason, like I'll say sometimes, like, I wish that I didn't feel like, man, I'm glad that's over when I finish playing the game. And part of this trophy thing and the time wasting and all that other stuff, like, that all kind of comes into that. Like, part of the reason, like, when I finish games these days, I don't really especially when I finish 100% in games these days, I don't really feel that great about them, is because, one, the way that the 100% is achieved involves a lot of tedious, weirdly... What's the word I'm looking for? Word's not looking for... not weirdly, it's unnecessarily expansive and time-wasting tasks that are put into 100%ing the game. It is entirely within the devs' rights to decide where they put the trophy markers. They get to do that. If they want to make it so that you have to literally beat every enemy in the game to be able to get the trophy, well, that's okay. But if you're going to do that, you should make sure that doing that is actually an enjoyable experience. And not something that when the player is done with it, they feel like, God, that was awful. It's like there's this kind of seems to be this like weird sadism with some of this stuff, and like the devs know it's not going to be fun, the players know it wasn't fun, but then you do it anyway. And then along those lines, like, it's like, let's take a game like Mugenics, where Mugenics clearly goes out of its way to antagonize the player in some cases. The game's not shy about this, to their credit. Which is why I'm not really considering this a specific criticism of that game. But like, one of the things that, as I get older, that I'm kind of forced to think about a little bit more, as I've kind of watched how society has changed over my time living, is expectations are important, and you get what you allow. And I think a lot of stuff that maybe we have kind of hand-waved over the last few decades through the ideas of, you know, liberty or freedom and like a, you know, just a lot of words along that line. Like, it's all well and good to say that, but you get the society that you allow. And when society starts thinking that it's okay to just like ritualistically antagonize people for your personal enjoyment, well, that's the society that you get. I know some people don't want to believe this, like, people aren't inherently good. Like, that's just made up nonsense. Children aren't inherently good. You leave a child to its own devices, it's going to become like a wild animal. Same as with a cat. Like, a cat can be cute sometimes, but make no mistake, that cat is a cat. It's a wild animal. It can be extremely dangerous, and you don't know what it's going to do. So how you raise that cat, if it's your pet, how you treat that cat, it's important. If you don't want that cat to end up being a nightmare. And like an example of kind of what I'm talking about here would be if you know who like John Cleese is. John Cleese is a member of Monty Python, English comedian. He spent most of his life mocking and ridiculing British traditional values. And now, make no mistake, he mostly did this in good nature. Like some of it was actually critical of what he thought were problems with British society. But fast forward to today, and I wonder if John Cleese would think that maybe some of the mocking and the ridicule and the things that he disparaged back then that are gone now might be things that he didn't want to get rid of. And what my point is here with game dev is like antagonizing the player. It can be interesting, it can be fun, like the people that watch it may get a kick out of it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good idea. I mean, people used to get a kick out of watching people kill each other in ancient Roman civilization. That's what the Colosseum was. Does that mean that was a good idea to do that? No, probably not. I think one of the things like you learn as you live is that just because you want to do something and you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Because you have to think of the long-term effects, not just to yourself, but to the things around you. Because while we are all individuals, and like I don't disagree with the notion of people acting as individuals and within their own interest, at the same time, you can't just act like everything you do has no effects on anything else. It just kind of bugs me that gaming doesn't seem to about people having fun as much as it used to be anymore. Like in a lot of cases, gaming has become about quote-unquote trolling people. It's become about trying to turn people into human money batteries. Like making sure the person that bought and is playing the game is having a good time. It's almost become like a second thought. I just don't understand how that happened or why people put up with it. Oh, you're in Malta today? You said you were going, I just thought it was going to be further down the line. Hope you're having a good time down there. Hope the weather's nice. When I was younger, like my family would go down to Panama City in Florida, like during the spring or the summer, every now and then. And it's always really unfortunate when like it rained or stuff like that, you know? Oof. I'm gonna die. Yeah, I'm gonna die. I really am gonna die. Yep. Ugh. No, that's not actually a gold split. That's just me pressing the button late on the previous split. Okay. Ish. I guess it's hard to do this and have that conversation at the same time. It's brown in like a grayish form of brown. The more appropriate color would be bronze. It's not actually, that's not an easy color to get in a flat color, but like, metallic colors don't generally show very well with flat colors, sadly. It should be like a bronzish color and then like a kind of grayish brownish color on the pads. I mean, it could be like a monitor color range thing. Like on my monitor, distinct enough. I'm not going to say the colors are not similar. Like I could understand why maybe somebody might have like a little bit of trouble distinguishing the colors, but they're pretty straight. It's pretty distinct on my end. I mean, it literally could be like a color range thing that's affecting it. Like the type of screen you have too, like a matte screen is going to make things look a little bit different than like a glassy gloss one. To be honest, not something I really took into consideration when I was making them. Something to think about for the future, though. Yeah, I'm not going to say the colors aren't dissimilar. They are absolutely similar, so them kind of bleeding into each other a little bit is, oh, come on. This is over. Yeah. Ugh. Alright, I probably should concentrate on what... Alright, let's try to concentrate on this and actually get a run done here. If I don't, like, actually get a run going here, I'm gonna have to, like, bleed into my Mina the Hollower playing time to finish a run. I'm very much looking forward to playing that after this. The game looks really good. I say that, I mean gameplay-wise. The graphical style, if... Oops. The graphical style is actually, like Game Boy Color. So, it's very simple pixel art graphical style. But the art direction's good, so it looks good. The people who made the game were obviously fans of Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, Castlevania, and Soul-style games. It is called Mina the Hollower. It's made by Yacht Club Games. They're the people that made Shovel Knight. I have never played Shovel Knight, but I know that a lot of people like Shovel Knight. A lot. Shovel Knight is a very popular game. It sold very well. I think I've played something else from Yacht Club Games in the past. Like I forget what it was called. It's some kind of like not a tower defense game. Like I don't know what you'd call it. It's a little bit kind of tower defense-y style. In that you defend like fixed points, but I don't remember the name of it. It's been like years, and it was a free-to-play game on PlayStation Plus. I think that's like the only other game I've played from these people, but that game was pretty well made. I didn't like immensely enjoy it or anything. I didn't think it was anything special. It was a free game. I had time, so I played it. That's about it. Yeah, it just came out Friday, I think. So. But it's going to play a lot like this game. So. Bought that on the PS5, so I'll be playing that after this, whenever I finish this. Alright, have a good one. Taking this to the shovel game or die trying. Ooh. A little bit late reacting there. Focused too much on wall pumping and wasn't ready to swing the sword. Good. Very good. One thing that I kind of like about an achievement like that is not the achievement itself, but what it tells me. And it tells me that the game devs have spent enough time playing their game to have an idea of how fast you can finish it. If you really, really, really want to. One of the reasons I was kind of happy that Mutagenics was on Steam and not on the PS5 is because I haven't been completing games on Steam or playing games on Steam at all. Like, I don't really feel like any kind of mental tug or obligation to 100% that game. I can play it as much as I want to and just leave it. Like, I liked the trophies idea when it was first introduced. That was a mistake. That's what I get for talking. I liked the idea of it when it was first introduced, but in implementation, I don't like what it's become, and I don't like what it's done to like games and gameplay. I think it's actually moderately difficult. Mina the Hollower, if that's what you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't have time to run my eyes through everything there. Just from the little bit I watched of someone else playing it, I won't say it's easy. It didn't look like the most terribly difficult thing I've ever seen, but it looked challenging. Like, it's not designed for people who haven't played that style of game before, I don't think. Well, I think, like, part of the reasons I don't like trophies is because I think that culture, or whatever you want to call it, has affected what people do when they design games to an extent. And that sometimes the trophies have become an end to themselves. And they shouldn't have ever been that. I don't think trophies should be any part of the consideration in the design process at all. Oh, boy, this is a disaster. Absolute dog shit. It's a good question. I mean, there's obviously games that I liked that had trophies. But whether there's trophies that I liked, a game that had trophies that I liked. You know what? I think Nier Automata's trophies were pretty good. Because they dovetailed perfectly into completely finishing the game. In that the true final ending of that game kind of required you to get all the other trophies, I want to say. I think that was the case. And then, like, I don't know if you know this or not. Like, I don't know. Like, that's kind of a spoiler, and there's still people who may not have played that game, so maybe I won't say it. But yeah, it's like, to truly complete that game, you have to get all the trophies. And I think that the way they did it is really interesting. I guess one of the things I like about Yoko Taro is he's a bit of a outside-the-box thinker and designer. He's willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do, that might not be commercially viable, but that he thinks are interesting. Well, let me change that a little bit. That the average business person would probably tell you aren't commercially viable. They might be commercially viable, you don't know until you put them out there sometimes. Especially when it's something that's different. There's just not enough people like that anymore. Not in, like, any kind of major studios anyway. Oh my lord, this is just... Alright. I need to bail this out at Tower of Hera, I guess. It's gonna be one of those runs. Just need the Desert Palace to be competent. Be nice if he's great, but right now just settle for competent. If this run is going to go anywhere. Lock in here a little bit. See if I can pull back some time. That's not good. That's not how you save time, sir. Oh, that's definitely not. Oh boy. Come on now. Why did I do a 360 there? What the? Dash off the stairs. Oh my god, this is embarrassingly poor time. Almost gonna be yeah, 60. Jesus, I'm like 20 seconds off. All right, let's go. Messy run right now. Okay. Right here. Oh, gotcha. Not good at all, but I'll take it for the time being. Uh-oh, we might make it unscathed. Look at that. Oh. Stupid bonk. Got greedy. Should hit the brake sooner. Tried to save like 5/100ths of a second. Cost myself a whole second. Bad trade-off. Oh, to be fair, I didn't get hit. I didn't get hit, to be fair. Oh. Can't believe I dodged that. Alright. I should be back ahead at the end of this dungeon as long as I don't fall off anywhere or the boss fight isn't a complete shit show. But, yeah, that's a lousy start. Good enough. Couldn't get there before the fire went off. That works. Get out of there. Oof. That's about as good as that could have went. Not frame perfect or anything like that by any means, but it's about as good as I can do it. Picked up maybe 35 to 40 seconds here. See, why can't I do that on a run where, like, I'm having a good run? No, it's always got to be on runs like this. And now, like, the bad start in this averages out to basically where I always am. If you put this with a good start, I could be almost like a minute ahead right now. You got me. I'm just farming drama. If I were to actually get the PB, then no one would come back. I wish I was good enough to be able to even claim to do things like that. It's early. Chickened out. Nope, just turning into a professional choke artist. That's a very mediocre line that the game let me get away with. Some of best segments down to 155.38 now. Like, there's the makings of a really good run in here. I just got to put it all together at some point. There we go. Boom. Should have hit the brakes earlier. Oh. Seriously was off? How? Was I not? I guess I wasn't pressed up against the treasure chest. That's the only thing that makes sense. Oh, oh! I don't know, I just wasn't ready for it. I reacted slowly. To be fair, he did surprise me a little bit. I don't know, for some reason, like, I wasn't expecting him to be specifically there. Like, I thought he was going to be a little bit deeper in. I really didn't need those arrows. I could have avoided that. Whatever. It's done. Alright, what are we getting today? First RNG gate. One. Off to a flying start. 2. Uh-oh. 3. Oh, you got a chance for something here. At this point, you might as well keep it up, buddy. 4. Oh, no, that's not 4. That's 2. That's 3. 4. 4. All right. Now it's just a really lame time-wasting outcome. 5. How many more is he going to give me? 5. Thank you for counting. Alright, so I'm going to lose approximately 30 seconds on that sprint. 35 or so. I'll be about 15 seconds behind. Really weird, odd run. Lost almost every second I gained on that repair. Yeah, if Shovel Game's a disaster, that'll just be where the day ends for this stream. If Shovel Game gives me like a 1 or a 2, I can justify going on. Shut up. No, I don't. I always make it to Shovel Game. I am the true Shovel Knight. No, I have not. Like, part of me thinks I should, but I've just never gotten around to it. I've always had other stuff to play, simply put. Lizard. Yeah, I wasn't gonna make that. Oof. Yeah, like I said, it's sold very well, and people who like it really like it, so I imagine it's a good game. I remember the title of that game I played that Yacht Games that the studio made before. It's called Aegis Defenders. That's what it was. That game was alright. It was competent. Worked properly, played properly. Oh. What am I doing? You know, they made a new Jump King game. It's called like Jump King Adventure or something like that. Or Jump King Quest or something like that. It's not a pixel style game, it's actually like they kind of did like it plays 2D I think, but it's like pre-rendered 3D models or something like that. I'm serious, like it came out like maybe a week ago. Oh, this is bad. Way too much wasted time there. Yes, something like that, Jump King Quest. It's a new Jump King game. Like it doesn't look, the art style doesn't look anything like Jump King. Like the character design and stuff like that is like Jump King, but the art style itself is not pixel art. gonna lose a little bit of time here. It's like I'm not too informed on it. I just saw somebody streaming it the other day. Who was it? I think it was Distortion 2 or whatever the guy's name is, like the speedrunner. I mean, it looks like it might be pretty interesting. Like, it's not something that I wouldn't want to play. But I don't know if it's not exactly, like, high on my priorities or anything like that. Especially since I haven't played Jump King. Maybe when there's enough people watching to enjoy watching me suffer. Okay, lost 4 seconds. That's not really as bad as I thought it was. I need to dash all of that. Whatever, it's done. It's good dash control practice, I guess. Let's be real. If this run survives, I'll be surprised, but it's not dead yet. No made for this run. Oops, too far. I'm glad I've kind of got that down now. Not anything special, but I enjoy that trick. That's a really poor line there. As was that, honestly. And 1 gold and a sea of red. Are you talking about that bonk? That's not unexpected. Like, with the bushes, like, if you are a little bit too far off center, you'll bonk into them. If you're really, really off center, you'll just kind of nudge off of them. But if you're, like, somewhere in between, you bonk. Man, this is real sloppy today. I mean, to be fair, like I've kind of not played very well today. That Tower of Herigold split, that's all the boss fight. Like, that boss fight was just ridiculously good. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man. Alright. Now I really feel bad about how much of a mess everything else has been. Well, I guess we'll see what becomes of this then. Oh, why did... What? Okay. I took a bad line. Wasn't straight diagonal coming in. Could have been wasted a half a second or so there. Up. Why? Whoa. Yes, let's dash 30 centimeters. That was smart. Man, I would not want to be doing the Kirby Samurai game today. I have a feeling I'd be putting up some ugly times. Oh, the rock under the flowers thing? Oh, yeah, there's just like a random chance for all kinds of weird stuff to appear under the flowers sometimes. Sometimes it's mine, sometimes it's a knight, sometimes it's a fairy, sometimes it's a rock. And if it's a rock, it's a living rock. Are those skull rocks? Why didn't he? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Alright. What's it gonna be? Not a 1. Can we get a 2? Can I get a 2? How about a 2? 1, 2, 3, or 17. Nothing in between, please. It's not a 2. Come on, 3. Anything in between that is like lame and boring. Not a 3. Uh-oh. I'm gonna get like a weird one where it's gonna be like 7 or something that just kind of messes up the run, but like the most uninteresting way possible. 4. Oh man, that's what we're barreling towards. 5. Either that or something hilarious. One of the two. That's all we're left with at this point. This is a minute loss already. There it is. Oh god, 6. That's like the lamest thing that could have possibly happened here. It's just enough to ruin it, but not enough to be like, ha ha ha, I can't believe how long it's taking. Oh, well, we'll at least finish up this dungeon, see where we stand. I think it warrants that. I think I'm going to be about 2 minutes behind, though. Oh, that's not good. And then I got hit. Just when you started counting, too. Like I said, lamest possible outcome. Oh. Too slow. Let's go. Just go. Oh, that's not good. Well, as long as I'm taking extra damage, I'm okay. So no more damage than that. I'm broke. Thank you for not getting in the way. I don't know why I didn't use the conveyor belts there, but whatever. What's done is no. What's done is done. Why did I menu? I don't need to menu there. I never menu there. It's a weird thing for me to do. I have a nice blind fight for once. I've been absolute garbage in this fight recently. Okay, one more. Alright, that's not too bad. Not good, but not too bad. Much better than I've been doing recently. Which is sad. This makes me sad to say that, but it's true. I've been absolute garbage on this fight recently. Alright, so I lost roughly a minute and a half. Yeah, I mean, it's still got chance, but like a minute 40 is a lot. Like I can maybe make up half of that, but all of that, that's going to be hard. Like basically I have to pick up time on every dungeon except for maybe the Water Palace and Misery Mire. That's asking a lot. I hope that wasn't too high. That should be okay. That's not the right. It's not the right item. I would have fumbled the button press there. I'm not really sure what happened. Up. I hit the button there. Up. Stupid fireball. What am I doing? Oh, that's not good. A bit unfortunate there, but did the best with it I could. That was a mistake. Hit menu while there's explosions on the screen. Dumb. Can I have a nice moss fight, please? Please, I haven't had a nice moss fight in like a while now. Okay, that's not a bad start. Okay, that's alright. How many times did I hit him? 5? Good enough. I'll pick up a little bit of time here, like just a little bit. The best I could hope for. Like, I would have liked to finish that fight at least 5 seconds sooner, but what are you gonna do? You get what you get. It's not good enough to be able to, like, manipulate that fight. I actually lost time. That sucks. Oh well. That menuing there. Oh. Oh, come on. Why did I hit the A button? What's the Y button? Yeah, I just hit the wrong button. Like, I really hate pulling those levers. Like, it looks like you've grabbed it, and then you make the motion to pull away, and then you haven't grabbed it. It's really finicky. Oh, what am I doing? Nice. Yeah, like, I'm not exactly sure what the delay is there. Or if there's a way to do it faster, potentially, but you kind of got to give them a second. Really frustrating. Necessary to dash there, but I did it anyway. Oh. How did I get caught on that? Oh, nice shot. Oh, kidding me. 1 pixel too low. Oh, of course you did. Always there in the way. Never fail. You could be on the right side of the room at any point. You're always on the left side there in the way. It's amazing. How much time I'm going to lose here. This is not... Oh, come on. Ash. No reason for that not to dash there. It's bullshit. Oh, come on. That's frustrating to lose time. I'm gonna be like 2 minutes behind. I lost a lot of time here. It doesn't even look like I lost that much, but I did. Like, it really didn't feel that bad, but it's gonna, like, when the time comes up, you're gonna be amazed by how much time I've lost here. "13 seconds. I 13 seconds is wild. Can't believe that's 13 seconds. It doesn't in any way feel like I lost 13 seconds there, but I did. At this point, no, it's probably not going to be under 2 hours. I mean, if it is, it's going to be like barely. I want to keep going a little bit. Like, I need to practice this dungeon. Like, I can't keep dodging this dungeon. I guess I got that right today. Oh, come on. God, that's bad timing. How did that happen? Oh. Been missing that lately. I don't know why. Yeah, I really like the hookshot in this game. It's extremely useful for a lot of things. Like, it even gives you invincibility. Oh, come on, man. Don't mess that up. Three hits? Really? That last hit's kind of BS. Like, I can usually get out of there with like one hit, sometimes two. Three's a lot. I don't know why I took 3. Takes the damage there. Oh, well. Probably should have just dashed down. Using the hookshot was probably a mistake there. Got to pick that up almost. Would have been bad. Ah, screw you. Oh, that was lucky. Oh man, that was lucky. Ah, bad catch too. Not good. Dungeon's okay. This is a decent ice dungeon. I'm either going to be equal or maybe even a little bit ahead. This was one of my better runs through here. I don't think it's my best, but it's one of my better ones. If I had gotten the boss fight right and kept him trapped up in the right-hand corner, maybe. But. Yeah, it was close. I was only like 2 seconds off of a PB there. Oh no! Okay, cool. Oh, I thought I'd done it. Okay, we're okay. It's just one heart. Ironic, I got a fairy there. I was just hoping for a heart. Fairy, because I had to chase it down, I couldn't actually use. Up. I knew it. Oh. That timing on that hook shot. Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. I'm gonna die. Oh boy. I'm not out of the woods yet. Why didn't I just hit it right? Just hit the right button. What are you doing? I didn't mean right, I meant a little left. Oh, no, wait, it was right. Yeah, it was right. I have power rod right. I did hit left like 5 times. I'm an idiot. Almost. I don't know why I was 1 pixel off, but I was. Oh. Oh, gave back all that time I picked up. You don't like that went bad. I don't know whether that was all me or half me, but like the eyeball that moved at first and the angle I took approaching led to that result. Like I got hit early and that screwed everything up. I wasn't supposed to get hit when I got hit at the very start. Like, it's at least partially my fault. I just don't know how much. But yeah, like that boss hits hard. How did I forget that? Left up. That's all I had to do. Left and up. Oh, that's unlucky. No, it doesn't do damage to you. Doesn't do damage to anything but that wall. Which is a little disappointing, but that's just the way the game is. Oh, I did it again. Well, at least I won't make this mistake again. Can't believe I forgot to get this last time and screwed up a PB. Nope, nothing. All it does is blow up that wall. To the best of my knowledge. I'm not aware of anything else it can do. You have to be careful about reacquiring the bomb. Like, that's why I kind of wait away from it and then going in towards the end. Because if you re-pick up the bomb, the timer resets, so... Like, that's bad. That's the one thing you want to avoid. Like, I'm not really sure if there's a point where it's impossible to re-pick up the bomb, but... Like, that's the reason I do that. Is if you place it once, if like you accidentally place it, you can't actually pick it back up. And the timer stops, so. Please be okay. Thank you. I really kind of pushed it with that mirror placement there. That could have been trouble. Oh, why did I swing the sword? You swing the sword. They're not charged. That was a mistake too. Whatever. What's done is done. It's almost 3 seconds probably. What was it there? Am I supposed to... I forgot whether it's supposed to let go of the direction buttons or hold on to them. One of the two. To keep from bonking. Although I may have been a little bit off center. Usually don't bonk there, but I've been doing it a lot. Oh, I thought I was fine. I was wrong. Oh, man. That was lucky. Oh, come on. What am I doing? Stay out of the way, don't hit me, thank you. Ah, it's late. It's a second. Never late there. Whatever. Ah, God! Oh, fuck this game. Guess I gotta use the hook shot or something. That sucks. To get in the way in like 2 separate points is kind of bullshit, but whatever. It's done. Like I can't get those 10 seconds back anymore, so. That's just kind of out of my hands, unfortunately. Oh, come on. This is bad lines. Can I have a little good luck here, please? I haven't had any good luck here in a while. It's sort of good luck. Oh, you're kidding me. A weird way to lose 15 seconds on this engine. Should have paid more attention to that bomb throw. Hope that killed it. He may still be alive. That's just more time lost in ridiculous fashion. Oh. Unbelievable. Oh boy. I've made a mistake here. Okay. God. 3 hearts is enough. 2.5 hearts is probably death. I'm not going to pick up nearly as much time here as I should have, though, on this dungeon. Initial positioning wasn't very good. Maybe a little bit farther under the head, not too far to the left. I'm going to pick up like 30, 40 seconds here. I'm only going to pick up like 25 or 20. That's bad. See, like my gold split would already have been done. Yeah, I'm like 20 seconds off of wood split. That's a shit time. That's a real shit time. Should I really continue this? Like, there's no way I'm picking up a med at 25. There's literally no way I'm picking up a med at 25, but I could potentially still get it under 2 hours. What the? How did that miss? If I have one more major disaster like that, I'm done. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Stop dashing there. Can't believe that worked. Are you kidding me, man? I should have got those arrows. Oh, you jerk. Asshole did the worst thing he could do there. Oh, come on. Damn it. I really need to stop. But we're going to keep going. To what end, I don't even know, but we're going to keep going. Oh, come on, man. Such shit. It cost me more time than it normally does. I still don't. Well, I know how to one cycle it, I'm just not good enough to do it. That way too early. I may be screwed here. Oof, barely. What? Oh, stupid. Pay attention. Oh, come on. What was even the point? If you're not going to pick it up, why'd you even do it? Oh, fuck this. Yep, that's enough. Oh. Oh well. I wasn't going to PB. Like, it was never going to PB. If I was lucky, I would have gotten another 2 hours, but considering how badly I was playing in that tower, that probably wasn't going to happen either, so. Alright, that's enough of that. Too bad. I just didn't play well enough. That's the only positives out of this were Tower of Hera and then the Ice Palace. Other than that, everything else is not good. So, I just didn't really play well today, unfortunately. That's okay. Do it again tomorrow. Okay, that's going to be all. Like, I need to go get to the next stream, so I'm going to just go ahead and cut it here. Thanks everyone watching. I'm going to be back in about 15 minutes, and I'm going to be playing Mina the Hollower. New game from Yacht Club Studios. I believe that's the name, Yacht Club Studios. People that made Shovel Knight. It's a mix of Link's Awakening, Castlevania, and like a Souls-type game. The little bit I've seen of it looks excellent. The reviews and the player reviews are all extremely positive at the moment, so I'm going to play that today. And I'll be doing it on the PS5, so I got to kind of switch things around here, so it's going to take a few minutes to get going. But I'll be going in about 15 minutes, so about 9:20. I was supposed to start at 9 o'clock, so I'm already late. So, yeah, I did survive longer than usual. But anyway, I mean, I technically didn't die. I just, screwed up enough that I'd had enough. So, okay, but that'll be all. Again, thanks everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, follow buttons always appreciated. Hope to see you in 20 minutes, and if not, see you tomorrow. So take it easy, guys.